Have you ever trusted someone so completely, only to be thrown away the moment life got hard? That's exactly what happened to me. My husband, the man I loved, called me a financial burden and gave me just 24 hours to leave our home. Can you imagine that? A lifetime of love, sacrifice, and loyalty reduced to nothing. But here's the twist. He had no idea I wasn't powerless. I was hiding a $12 million fortune, a secret that could change everything. What would you do if the person who betrayed you thought they had won, but you held all the cards? Stay with me, because this is not just a story of betrayal. It's a story of resilience, strategy, and ultimate triumph. And it might just make you rethink who really has the power in your life.
Before we dive in, tell me, where in the world are you watching from right now? And what time is it there? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to know. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button for Revenge Unfolded, where we bring you more emotional, real-life stories of betrayal, justice, and triumph. Anna Mitchell had always believed her life. Not perfect, but steady. 15 years at a prestigious marketing firm. Respected, admired, stable. Her work wasn't just a job. It was the backbone of her family. But on that gray Thursday morning, the ground beneath her cracked. She could still see that sterile conference room, the glass table, the cold smell of stale coffee, the way her manager couldn't even look her in the eye. And then the words that shattered everything. Anna? I'm sorry, the company is downsizing. Your position has been eliminated. Eliminated. So clean, so clinical. Like her 15 years of late nights and missed weekends meant nothing more than numbers on a spreadsheet. Her lips curved into a polite smile, but her hands, they trembled. Oh, I see, she whispered, but nothing inside her saw clearly anymore. By the time she walked out with a cardboard box, the sky opened into a cold drizzle. Strangers brushed past her, umbrellas raised, indifferent to her small tragedy. To them, she was just another fallen professional. But to Anna, it felt like the end of everything. At home, silence pressed down on her. She set the box on the table. Her eyes caught the framed photo of her and Michael in Italy, their honeymoon. Young, fearless, in love. She had believed he was her safe place. She needed that safe place now. Hours later, the door clicked open. Michael stepped in. She felt a flicker of hope. Maybe he would hold her. Maybe he would say, "We'll face this storm together." Instead, his first words cut like ice. "You're home early." Anna forced a weak smile. I lost my job today." Michael froze, briefcase still in hand. No embrace, no comfort. Just a long, sharp silence. And then, "You're kidding." Her throat ached. "No, they downsized. It wasn't my fault." His jaw tightened. The words that followed crushed her. "Of course it's your fault. People don't just lose jobs for no reason, Anna." The sting of his blame nearly doubled her over. She had braced for disappointment, even frustration, but not this. "Michael, please. I worked so hard." He cut her off. Cold, dismissive. "You've become a liability. Do you hear me? A financial liability. I can't carry dead weight, Anna." Dead weight. That's what she was to him now. That night, she sat alone in front of the mirror, mascara smudged, eyes hollow, a woman she barely recognized. She wanted to scream, to remind him of the sacrifices, the vacations she gave up, the nights she stayed late, the dreams she buried so he could chase his. But he wasn't listening. Downstairs, I heard the clink of ice in his glass. His comfort mattered more than her pain. For the first time in years, Anna felt utterly alone. But the storm inside her was only just beginning. Lying in the dark, grief tangled with disbelief. The man who swore to love her through every trial had shown his truth. He didn't see her as a wife. He saw her as a paycheck. And now that paycheck was gone, so was his loyalty. Anna closed her eyes. Sleep never came. Instead, something else stirred. Not grief, not fear, but anger. Resolve. Michael thought she had fallen, that she was broken, powerless. But he didn't know the truth. Not yet.
The morning after Anna lost her job, the house felt colder than usual. She sat at the kitchen table, a cup of coffee between her hands. Untouched, lukewarm. The silence pressed in until Michael's footsteps echoed down the stairs. He was already dressed, navy suit, perfect tie, every line of his body radiating impatience. His voice cut through the air. "Are you just going to sit there all day?" He didn't even look at her, just snatched a slice of toast like she was invisible. Anna's eyes lifted, heavy with pleading. "Michael, please. Yesterday was hard. I just need some time." "Time?" he scoffed, spreading butter across the bread like preparing for battle. "We don't have time. Do you think bills stop coming because you lost your job? Do you think the mortgage pays itself?" Her lips parted, but no words came. Not a word about the years she carried half the expenses. Not a word about her sacrifices, her loyalty, her exhaustion. Instead, his eyes narrowed. "You're a financial burden now, Anna. Dead weight." The words landed like stones on her chest. Her fingers clutched the table edge, knuckles white. Her voice cracked. "I'm not dead weight, Michael. I'm your wife. We vowed to support each other." He barked out a laugh, short, humorless, cruel. "Wife? A wife is a partner, useful, reliable. You're none of those anymore." She flinched as though struck, and in that moment, she realized this wasn't about her job. It was about him, his pride, his ego, his refusal to stand beside her when she was weak. Her voice trembled. "Michael, I've stood by you through everything. When your business failed the first time, I carried us. When you— Enough!" His hand slammed against the counter. The sound reverberated like a gunshot. Even he looked startled. But his anger pressed on, sharp as a blade. He leaned in. His whisper was venom. "I'm giving you 24 hours. Pack your things. Leave this house. If you're not gone by tomorrow, I'll make sure you regret it." The ultimatum hung heavy, toxic, unforgiving. Anna's heart pounded. For a fleeting second, she prayed he was bluffing, that the man she once loved would soften. But his eyes were stone, his jaw set in iron. Her voice was barely a whisper. "Michael, you can't mean this." He straightened, briefcase in hand. "I mean every word. You are no longer my responsibility." The door slammed, and with it, the last remnants of her old life shattered. Anna sank into the chair. Her hands trembled. The house that once felt like home now felt foreign, hostile. These walls had held anniversaries, birthdays, late-night laughter. Now they held nothing. 24 hours. That's all she had. One day to dismantle the life she built brick by brick. She moved like a ghost. Closets opened, boxes came down, clothes folded with mechanical precision. Every drawer she emptied, another reminder that she was being erased. But as she packed, something shifted. Yes, the humiliation burned, but beneath it, something steady, something sharp. Michael Turner thought he was discarding a broken woman, powerless, penniless. But he had made a grave mistake. Anna Mitchell was far from powerless, and soon he would learn the true cost of betrayal.
Anna sat on the bedroom floor, boxes half packed around her. The ultimatum weighed heavy. 24 hours. One day to erase herself from the house she had built into a home. Her hands shook as she folded another blouse. Every fabric carried memories, dinners, anniversaries, once warm, now hollow. And then a thought, sharp, unwelcome, but insistent. The box. Her pulse quickened. At the back of the closet, buried beneath shoe boxes and an old winter coat, sat a cedar chest. Scratched wood, tarnished lock, forgotten by time, but not by Anna. She dragged it forward, breath uneven. The brass key hung from her neck, a key she never removed. Michael once teased her about it. Why wear that old thing all the time? She had only smiled. Sentimental reasons. Now the lock clicked open, and inside lay a story no one knew. Folders, envelopes, documents neatly organized. Her inheritance, her investments, her safety net. Years ago, when her grandmother Margaret passed away, she left Anna more than pearls and memories. She left her power. Stocks in a small, rising tech company, a trust fund carefully managed, bonds, savings, quiet wisdom stacked over decades. Anna hadn't understood it all back then, but she remembered Margaret's words. Never let anyone use this money to control you. Keep it safe. Keep it yours. And she had. Michael never knew. When times were tight in their marriage, Anna worked harder, built her own career. Let his ego breathe. Let him feel like the provider. She hid the truth not out of fear, but out of love, or so she thought. Her fingers sifted through the papers. The numbers stared back at her, larger than she'd ever dared to imagine. $12 million. Her breath caught. 12 million and growing. She closed her eyes. Margaret's voice echoed soft but firm. One day, you'll need this, not for comfort, but for freedom. Freedom. When Anna rose to her feet, something had changed. She was no longer the woman crushed under Michael's contempt. No longer the broken wife staring at a stranger in the mirror. She was Margaret's granddaughter, the woman entrusted with power, the keeper of secrets, the survivor who had waited for this very moment. Michael Turner thought he was pushing her into the streets with nothing, that she was powerless, dependent, disposable. But he was wrong. As she snapped the chest shut, a faint smile curved her lips. The humiliation still burned, but it had become fuel. Yes, she had 24 hours to leave his house, but when she walked out that door, she wouldn't be broken. She would be free. And Michael would have no idea what kind of storm he had unleashed. The morning sun streamed weakly through the curtains, pale gold. For Anna, the light was cruel and liberating. Cruel because it exposed every corner of the life she was being forced to leave behind. Liberating because it marked the first day of her freedom. She zipped her final suitcase. The sound cracked through the silence like a blade. The room was bare now. No framed photos, no books on the nightstand, no trace of the woman who once called it home. Her hand brushed across the dresser. Scratches still lingered from years ago when she and Michael had built it together, laughing at their clumsy hands. Her throat tightened. How easily memories turned to scars. Downstairs, Michael leaned against the doorway, coffee in hand, tie perfectly knotted, relaxed, as though he hadn't just shattered his wife's dignity. His voice was flat. "Good. At least you can follow instructions." Anna didn't flinch. Her tears were gone, drained. Now there was only calm resolve. Her chin lifted. "You really don't care, do you?" Michael shrugged, set the mug aside. "Care? Anna, I warned you years ago. I don't tolerate weakness, and right now, that's all you are." The silence stretched long between them. Then Anna smiled. Not joy, but realization. Her voice was soft, cutting. "You're wrong." His brows furrowed. "Excuse me." Her eyes didn't waver. "You think I'm weak because I lost a job. But Michael, weakness isn't losing something. Weakness is abandoning the person you vowed to stand beside the moment life stopped feeding your ego." The words hung in the air like shattered glass. Michael's mouth opened, ready to strike back. But Anna didn't give him the chance. She lifted her bags, straightened her shoulders, and walked. Each step echoed like thunder, not defeat, defiance. At the threshold, she paused. One last glance, not at Michael, at the house, the walls, the furniture, the memories. They weren't hers anymore, and that was fine. Because she wasn't just leaving humiliation behind, she was leaving a cage. Outside, the air was crisp, alive. She loaded the suitcases into her car, slid behind the wheel. For a moment, her hands trembled. Then she remembered. The cedar chest, tucked safely away, its secret roaring quietly in her veins. $12 million. Her secret. Her strength. The engine roared to life, and Anna exhaled. She wasn't broken. She wasn't discarded. She was walking away with more power than Michael Turner could ever comprehend, and one day soon, he would learn. The woman he called a burden was the one who held the power to destroy him.
The apartment wasn't much. A one-bedroom on the edge of the city. Cracked paint, dust in the air. But to Anna, it was freedom. She stood in the doorway, suitcase at her side, breathing in deeply. No expensive furniture, no hollow luxury, no guests to impress, just quiet, just hers. For the first time in years, she felt untethered. The first week was fragments of adjustment, mismatched dishes from a thrift store, books on a crooked shelf, simple meals in a kitchen half the size of her old one. At night, she lay on a new mattress, still smelling of plastic wrap, listening to the hum of the city, and slowly, she began to heal. Gone were the criticisms, the sideways glances, the weight of Michael's judgment. In their place, silence. Not lonely, liberating. Coffee tasted different. Rain tapping on the window felt like music. Every step, every choice, hers alone. Each day, she woke stronger, more herself. But Anna wasn't naive. Healing wasn't enough. Michael's betrayal had left scars too deep. She could have walked away forever, lived quietly on her fortune, let him rot in arrogance. But his words still burned. "You're dead weight. a financial burden, not my responsibility. Those words turned into fire. This wasn't about money anymore. This was about dignity, about teaching him the cost of betrayal. Nights at the kitchen table, papers spread wide, the cedar chest by her side, its secrets now her greatest weapon. Every account, every investment, every opportunity her grandmother had secured. $12 million, enough to rebuild, enough to fight back, enough to turn revenge into justice. She called her grandmother's old attorney, Mr. Harris. His voice crackled with warmth. Your grandmother always said you'd know when it was time. If you're ready, Anna, the trust is fully yours to command. Ready. The word settled deep into her bones. Outside, autumn leaves swirled in golden circles, the city alive with strangers, and Anna no longer invisible. Every step was reclamation. She was not Michael's shadow, not his liability. She was Anna Mitchell, granddaughter of Margaret Mitchell, heir to wisdom, to wealth, to resilience. On the fifth night, Anna lit a candle, sat by the window. Her reflection flickered in the glass. She studied herself, the pain, the strength, the ember of determination. And she whispered into the silence, I won't waste this. I won't waste what you left me, and I won't let him walk away unscathed. The vow settled heavy in the air. Her plan was no longer a shadow. It was alive, breathing, growing stronger with every beat of her heart. Michael Turner believed he had discarded a broken woman. What he truly had done was set free a storm, and that storm was coming for him. Michael Turner had always believed himself untouchable. Arrogance was his armor, a tailored suit, sharp, polished, hollow within. For years, his life was built on appearances: the perfect house, the perfect career, the perfect marriage. But perfection is fragile. And now, without Anna, the cracks began to show. At first, small inconveniences, bills piling high, clients hesitating, whispers in office corridors. Michael brushed it off, told himself it was temporary. But the world had shifted, and his arrogance no longer held weight. The promotion he counted on? Gone. Handed to someone younger, hungrier. His friends at the golf club? Calls and answered. And when his landlord demanded overdue payments, Michael felt the first sting of panic. Loneliness settled in like dust. The grand house, once alive with Anna's gentle presence, now echoed with silence. He thought he wanted freedom, but silence was suffocating. Meals alone at a table built for two. Footsteps too loud in empty rooms. Nights staring at the ceiling, not haunted by guilt, but by emptiness. And emptiness breaks a man faster than shame ever could. Debts circled him like vultures. His investments crumbled. Investments Anna had once quietly guided, shielding him from his own recklessness. Without her unseen hand, everything collapsed like dominoes. His colleagues noticed, his superiors noticed, and whispers spread about his failing accounts, his arrogance, and the wife who had abandoned him. For a man who lived on reputation, this was death by 1,000 whispers. One evening, desperate, Michael called an old friend. The conversation was short, polite, forced. When he suggested dinner, the friend hesitated, then declined. "Sorry, things are tight these days." Michael knew the truth. No one wanted to sink with him. That night, he poured himself another drink. Third, maybe fourth. He stared at his reflection in the dark window. The man looking back wasn't the man he remembered. Dull eyes, thinning hair, lines of stress carved deep into his face. For the first time, fear crept in. Not fear of losing money, but fear of losing control. And through it all, one thought burned. Anna, not out of love, not even regret, but because she had walked away without a fight. What if she was doing better without him? What if she had found strength? What if she no longer needed him at all? The thought gnawed at him, bitter, unrelenting. Weeks turned to months. Debts deepened. Loneliness grew heavier. His reputation cracked beyond repair. Michael Turner, the man who thought himself a king, was now cornered, broken by his own arrogance. And somewhere across the city, Anna Mitchell lit another candle in her small apartment, her plan taking shape, her heart steady with quiet satisfaction. He was crumbling, and she hadn't even lifted a finger yet.
Anna Mitchell had every reason to burn with rage. She could have screamed, cursed Michael's name, stormed into his crumbling life, and ripped it apart with the truth of what he had lost. But fury was cheap, and Anna was not cheap. Instead, she embraced silence. In her modest apartment, she built her sanctuary. The walls still cracked, the furniture still secondhand, but the air vibrated with quiet strength. No more wasted energy, no more proving herself, least of all to the man who had cast her aside. Each morning, she lit a candle on the windowsill, sipped her coffee, and planned. The world outside moved in chaos. Debt collectors at Michael's store, whispers in his office, his perfect image collapsing piece by piece. But Anna did not interfere. She simply watched. For the first time in her life, she realized the greatest weapon was patience. Her grandmother's words returned to her, soft, unshakable. Real power doesn't need to shout, Anna. It waits. It watches. It chooses the perfect moment to strike. So, she waited. Her fortune was no longer a secret to herself. $12 million, wisely invested, quietly growing. But she didn't flaunt it. No glittering jewelry, no lavish mansion, no desperate attempt to prove Michael wrong. Instead, she invested in herself. Courses, markets, advisors, networks Michael could never even imagine. To the world, she was just a quiet widow, rebuilding her life after loss. But Anna knew the truth. She was weaving a web, and when the time came, Michael would discover she had always been the spider. Silence did not mean weakness. At night, she wrote in her journal, mapping each move like a general before battle, noting his debts, his vulnerabilities, his collapsing reputation. Her plan
was not fire. Her plan was to let him burn himself, and when the ashes settled, she would reveal just enough to remind him of what he had thrown away. One evening, Anna stepped into a charity gala. Not as Michael's wife, not as his silent shadow, but as herself. A simple, elegant gown, silver hair swept neatly, her presence commanding without effort. People noticed her. They asked her questions. They listened when she spoke, and for the first time, Anna felt what it meant to be seen, truly seen. Michael? He wasn't there. His invitations had long since stopped arriving. Walking home beneath the city lights, Anna smiled. Not because she had humiliated him, not because she shouted her triumph from rooftops, but because she finally understood revenge isn't about noise. It isn't about anger. It's about dignity, about reclaiming the life he tried to strip away, about living so fully, so powerfully, that his memory becomes nothing but a footnote. Still, Anna was no saint. She knew the day would come, the moment when silence alone would no longer be enough. Michael had built his empire on her back, dismissed her worth, cast her aside like dust. And one day, he would see her again, not in rage, not in bitterness, but in power. And when that moment arrived, Anna Mitchell would not need to raise her voice. Her very existence, her success, her quiet empire, that would be her thunder.
Life has a cruel sense of humor. The same man who once called Anna Mitchell a burden, who gave her 24 hours to leave his house, now stood at her door. Though he didn't even know it yet. Michael Turner's decline had accelerated. Debts multiplied. Colleagues abandoned him. The mask of confidence he wore for decades slipped away. Even his house, his pride, his monument to status, teetered on foreclosure. But the final blow? A critical investment collapsed. The banks refused him credit. His reputation? Shredded. No one trusted him anymore. And in desperation, Michael realized he had only one option left. He needed help. The irony was sharp. The man who once mocked Anna for being useless now sought her. It began with a phone call. Anna recognized the number instantly. Her chest tightened. Memories rushed back, but she let it ring twice before answering. Anna. His voice hoarse, cracked, not with emotion, but exhaustion. Silence. She let it linger. Let him stew in the discomfort. Finally, she replied. Calm. Even. Michael. He fumbled. I didn't know who else to call. Things have gotten complicated. I thought maybe you could help me, just until I'm back on my feet. Anna's lips curved into the faintest smile. He had no idea. Days later, they met at a cafe near the courthouse. Neutral ground. Michael arrived in a suit that no longer fit, his tie askew, his eyes hollow with sleepless nights. Anna, on contrast, was composed, graceful, silver hair framing her face with quiet dignity. For a moment, Michael faltered. She wasn't the broken woman he had discarded. She was untouchable. Still, his arrogance clung to him. You know I wouldn't ask if it wasn't serious, he said, leaning forward. It's just a short-term setback. With a little support, I can turn things around. You always believed in me before." Anna studied him, hands wrapped around her coffee cup. She remembered every insult, every dismissal, every cold night in that grand empty house. And now, here he was, begging, without even realizing it. Inside her, a storm of satisfaction swirled. But Anna did not let it show. "Why me, Michael?" she asked softly. He hesitated. Because you were always dependable, reliable. I know I hurt you, but surely you don't want to see me ruined." There it was. Not remorse, not apology, just entitlement dressed in desperation. Anna almost laughed. The truth pressed at her lips, that she was no longer fragile, that she sat upon a fortune greater than anything he had ever touched. She could have crushed him with that knowledge, instantly. But silence was sweeter. So she leaned back, expression unreadable. "I'll think about it," she said. Her voice calm as a still lake. Relief washed over him. "I knew I could count on you," he murmured, mistaking her composure for submission. But Anna wasn't considering helping him. She was considering how best to let him unravel, while standing close enough to watch. As Michael walked out of the cafe, his shoulders hunched, his steps heavy, Anna remained seated, her coffee growing cold. Her plan had reached its perfect turning point. He needed her. He didn't know she held the power, and Anna Mitchell would decide exactly when and how to reveal the truth.
The second meeting was no accident. Anna had chosen the place carefully. A quiet, upscale restaurant, the kind of place Michael Turner once prided himself on. But tonight, he looked out of place. Wrinkled suit, weary posture, desperation clinging to him like a second skin. Anna, by contrast, was radiant in her calm. No glittering jewels, no display of wealth. Her strength was subtler, sharper, the kind that needed no decoration. Michael wasted no time. "Anna, I need a decision. The creditors are breathing down my neck. If I can just get some capital, I can rebuild. You know I'm good at that." Anna tilted her head. "Good at rebuilding, Michael? Or good at pretending you were never crumbling in the first place?" The words cut. He'd bristled, forced a strained smile. "You've always been the steady one, the dependable one. I thought maybe, after everything, you'd still want to see me succeed." Anna let out a soft laugh, not cruel, but edged with truth. "After everything? After you called me dead weight? After you gave me 24 hours to pack and leave my own home? After you reduced me to nothing?" Michael shifted, his jaw tight, but desperation kept him tethered. Then Anna leaned forward, her gaze steady, her voice low, unwavering. "Do you know the real irony, Michael? The day you threw me out, humiliated me, I wasn't broken. I was carrying a secret you never cared to ask about." He blinked. "What secret?" Anna reached into her bag, a slim folder. She opened it, slowly, deliberately. Account statements, trusts, investments, numbers in black and white. "While you called me a liability," she said, her tone calm as still water, "I was the heir to a fortune. $12 million. My grandmother left it to me. I invested it. I nurtured it. And while you saw me as nothing, I was more than you could ever imagine." The color drained from his face. His mouth opened, then closed. For the first time in years, words failed him. 12 million? He whispered. Anna nodded. "Yes. And I never told you, because you never asked. You never cared enough to look at me
as anything more than a mirror for your ego. Michael's hands trembled on the table's edge. The realization crashed like a tidal wave. Every insult, every dismissal, every cruel word, now mocking him in return. You could have saved me, he muttered. Anna's eyes hardened. No, Michael, I could have saved us. But you destroyed us long before you destroyed yourself. You don't deserve saving. The restaurant hummed on, but for Michael, the world narrowed to this moment. Across from him sat the woman he once discarded. Not weak, not broken, untouchable. And worse than her wealth was knowing she had been silent all along, watching him unravel while holding the very power he craved. Anna closed the folder, slid it back into her bag, and stood. I don't need revenge, Michael. Your downfall was written by your own arrogance. I simply let it happen. His eyes followed her as she walked away, each step echoing the finality of his defeat. For the first time, Michael Turner understood true loss. Not money, not status, but the loss of Anna Mitchell, the woman who had always been more than he ever deserved.
The morning after their final meeting, Anna Mitchell woke to sunlight spilling through her apartment window. For years, she had dreaded mornings, the heaviness of Michael's shadow, the sting of his criticisms echoing in her mind. But today, the light felt different. Not harsh, not heavy. It was warm, golden, alive. For the first time in decades, Anna did not wake as someone's wife, not as someone's liability, not as someone's afterthought. She woke as herself. News of Michael Turner's decline spread quietly, but relentlessly. His debts devoured what little he had left. His so-called friends disappeared. His reputation, once polished to perfection, lay in shards at his feet. He was a man undone, not by Anna's hand, but by his own arrogance. Anna never gloated. She didn't need to, because sometimes the silence of your absence is louder than any revenge. Instead, she turned to her future. With her wealth, she built what mattered: scholarships in her grandmother's name, shelters for women who'd been told, as she once had, that they were worthless, invisible, disposable. Every act was not just charity, it was reclamation, a quiet declaration. I am more than what he tried to make me. Her world expanded. Invitations poured in, charity boards, speaking events, gatherings where people respected her not for her money, but for her resilience, her wisdom, her grace. For the first time, Anna was not in the background. She was at the center of her own story. One crisp autumn evening, she visited her grandmother's grave. She laid fresh flowers. Her hand rested gently on the stone. "Thank you," she whispered, "for believing in me, even when I didn't believe in myself, for leaving me not just money, but freedom." A tear slipped down her cheek. Not sorrow, gratitude. And when she rose, her shoulders were squared, her heart light. The past no longer chained her. Meanwhile, Michael sat in the ruins of his former life, his once grand home stripped bare. Regret gnawed at him, cruel and relentless. He replayed her words over and over. Your downfall was written by your own arrogance. I simply let it happen. The woman he had cast aside had walked into a brighter future without him, and that truth would haunt him far longer than debt or disgrace ever could. As Anna walked away from the cemetery that day, the sky opened above her, painted in hues of gold and rose. The world felt vast, welcoming, alive with possibility. She was free. Free from his shadow, free from his cruelty, free to live on her own terms. And in that freedom, Anna Mitchell found not just survival, but triumph. True strength is not measured by the wealth you hold or the titles you claim. It is measured by the dignity you refuse to surrender, by the resilience to rise after betrayal, and by the courage to live fully even when others try to diminish you.